Welcome in, everyone, to Heat Challenge After Show. As you can see, we look perfectly normal. We're not dressed up or anything. It's not 80s night.
Woo!
Oh, 80s night is canceled.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 15. Never say never again. I'm Daniel. That's Jenna. That's Pamela. And we are all doing fantastic. Jenna, thank you for joining us again this week. We missed you last week, but we know you had big celebrations to have, and even the whole week, apparently, correct?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Keep the party going. Yeah, thank you. I miss you guys too.
Yay.
Speaking of two, how about a 2-2?
Oh,
wait, I want to know, Dan, how are you so prepared for this? So to let everybody know, as we were watching the show unfold, I texted everyone, I was like, let's do an 80s night. So that was maybe 15 minutes ago. So the fact that you have fairy wings and a tutu on deck at your house, please explain.
It would be because, now this is the truth, I do a lot of sketch comedy, so you need to have random outfits, but I'm sure people will take a more sexual approach with that, and that's fine. But I do sketch comedy, and you can check it all out on my TikTok, Idiot Box Boys. So there you go.
Hey, check them out, check them out.
All right, let's get into the episode, ladies.
Sorry, I have to stay on your costume. The wings and tutu just remind me of Jim Carrey in, like, I'm a football player that's gone batty, trying to be in a, like, they're not necessarily 80s, they're just kind of kooky. But yeah, the hat and the sunglasses and the tank work for me.
Yeah, I mean, my hat says Danimal on it, so there you go.
Like, for sure.
I think we should play judges a little bit later on in our show when we get to the 80s night, and we can say who we thought had the best look.
I think we should definitely do that.
Good idea.
That's a guarantee. So that's a good teaser, people. You want to stick around because we're going to be judging everyone's costumes.
But kudos to you guys for getting this going so quick. Dan's costume pulled it out. Amazing.
We're all trying. We're all making things happen. That's what this after show is all about. Bringing the people in and entertaining.
Yeah.
Duh.
Fessy says CT is overrated at the top of this episode, ladies. I want to do the whole Fessy and CT drama right from the start. So what do we think of that first comment alone?
So you want to piss us off right You want to piss us off right now. Helicopter hair on Fessy. I had to go a little bit Gen Z tonight because I was like, not Fessy talking about CT, not you being 2 seasons on this show, coming at somebody who has spent probably more of their lifetime than not being on this show. And I get that maybe he's losing his touch a little bit. Like, he's bigger, he's got a little bit of dad bod, but like Nani said, CT will still rip you apart with his bare hands.
And Leroy said, oh, again, shut up. Hold on, I don't know if you can see this.
Shut up,
Fessy.
Fessy.
Josh. So this show started off with, shut up, Fessy.
Right.
Like, everyone who's ever tried to step to CT has been shut down. I'm sorry. Like, that's just the history. Like, everyone's like, he's fat now, he's this. It's like, remember Bananas, even, who's not a modest man, was saying to someone, I don't remember who, during Champs vs. Stars, don't look at CT and count him out, like the dad bod, this, that, like, guy's a beast. He'll crush you again and again. And Fessy just has some nerve. And I have my most favorite Fessy's disgusting moment happens at the end, so I want to save it, and it doesn't have to do with CT necessarily. But I don't know who Fessy thinks he is.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was also a big look yourself in a mirror moment, because everything he's saying about CT could equally work for the way this season has gone for him. It felt like to me he was trying to say that CT just got by in reputation and he got a free pass. It's not that Fessy has a reputation, but he does have a aura that I think people are afraid of him.
He's giant.
Because
like,
he's giant. Right. So you're saying CT just gets by because he has his reputation and he's big and strong, but you're just getting by because you're big and strong and people happen to be scared of you for that. Also, if you're trying to say that CT isn't really proving himself, he doesn't have to go into a lot of eliminations, dude, Fessy, Exhibit A, like, you literally bitched out of the easiest elimination that was handed to you on a silver platter, and then you decided to take out your best friend who you knew was weaker and stronger, and then you wanted to gouge out his eyeballs in the process. Like,
and
who are you?
And like, literally visual proof, Fessy's saying, like, they're gonna show it, you're gonna, what I will say is I'm surprised Fessy was sharp enough or had the balls enough to get CT's goat to get under his skin, because usually Fessy's, we see him just not being very bold. I don't know what got into him that he decided to go step up to CT, but also he was wrong. So they're showing the footage and Fessy's sitting there, saying, well, they're going to see that I pinned you and you didn't. And CT's like, what? Sometimes, you get furious because you're like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, you're lying. Sometimes, Have you ever had a fight with someone like that where you're like, what? Oh my God. Like, you're like, people are hearing this, but they were showing the footage and Fessy's wrong. So it's like, Fessy, not only are you a schmuck for doing this to CT and misguided, but also you're wrong. Like, he let you not fight anymore during that elimination. So I don't know where Fessy's getting his confidence from these days. Maybe Gabby wrote him back like Misha across the pond, winky face, kiss, kiss, but I don't know.
Well, to me, I couldn't even tell with that footage they showed in the semi truck. I didn't know who was winning. I couldn't even tell which one was which at some points. So to me, it was inconclusive. But at the same time, there's no way that I saw a dominant player beating another player. It looked pretty even to me. No one was beating anybody. I don't know what Fessy was talking about. He destroyed CT. That's not true.
I remember the actual thing because I was like, what a good matchup. And basically, I think the girls were over. I don't remember the details, so let us know in the comments. But basically, it was like it didn't matter who won at that point. It was just a battle. And Fessy was like, I don't want to go anymore. I remember CT being like, fine, we'll like, my memory is that CT was like, fine, I'll let it go at this point. But there was no like, I pinned you, dude, and then I let you, like, never happened.
Yeah.
Not even.
What it comes down to me is that I really think that CT is a performer and he performs in like the toughest situations. He's not going to be one of those guys that's going to get all nervous in his tummy and not perform well. So even if I do think that Fessy may have a little more endurance than him, which I don't even think I really do, CT will push himself. He will not let himself. If he'll push his body to the edge before he lets himself fail. I don't know. I don't believe that Fessy will do that. I think we've only seen Fessy get 4th place in a final. We haven't seen him do anything really yet. So we'll see. We'll see how this one goes. They all look like they're on the cusp. Not according to TJ, but that's a whole other thing.
But also, yeah, case in point on that of Fessy being a jerk and something to prove was when, and I don't want to cut ahead, but when he's running without his partner, someone saying, Cam, I think, was like, Fessy, dude, it's not who can beat Corey. Like, you need to, like, Fessy's just all like, something to prove. Yeah. Like, it's not about something to prove. If you're trying to win this with your partner, you run with your partner. Like, you can't do anything without her anyway. He's just a jerk. Like,
yeah, he must have a little bit of that insecurity where it is only 2nd season, so maybe he does feel like he does have something to prove, because isn't it kind of a situation if you know that you're going to beat somebody, like he's saying so outwardly that he knows he's better than CT, then why do you have to vocalize it? You obviously don't necessarily feel that way if you're trying to pick a fight with him. If you knew you were better than somebody, you wouldn't even really pay them any attention. You would just laugh it off and not care. But the fact that he's like seeking CT out to fight him is interesting. If he feels so much stronger and better than him.
At this point, I think it's also, he's got that group courage. Like right now, his alliance is Casey and Leroy, who won. So then you've got Corey, his best friend this season, Corey and Cam, who did well. And basically he just feels like, you can't touch me. Like, I think he's just feeling pretty cool right now. And
saw how he reacted at the end of the episode when Big T decided to stay with CT, thus keeping their.
That was my jerk of the like.
Yeah, he was very excited about that.
Like everybody wants me. Thank God I dodged getting picked. Like, that's how he acted. Like, oh God, every time a girl wins, I'm sure they're gonna steal me.
Well, in his defense, Big T did say she was gonna pick him or CT, so that he was on the list.
I don't remember that, but still,
she said it straight up. She said it to the camera. She said, "I'm gonna pick either Fessy or stay with CT." Like, she said it like that.
Well, I don't know, but again, like, have some grace and couth and class.
Fessy, I don't like the guy. I don't.
dodged a bullet. Like, you're disgusting.
Emma, I agree. He's going after. He wants to be the villain. He's going after being the villain. And he's serving his purpose of being the villain. One of the villains this season. He's
I
doing
don't
it.
think he wants to be. I think
Well,
he-
I don't want to.
You don't think he wants to be the villain after the way he's saying things? I think he's going for it at this point. He's like, I'm gonna be the
he's just
villain.
playing a good game. And it's like, no, being obnoxious to someone that way is not, especially Big T, who we're getting ahead of ourselves. But
Right. It's less of being a villain, more of just being a cocky player.
right, like a jerk. It's not.
But I'm not making excuses for Fessy. However, I do wish somebody in the house would humble him. I do wish somebody would say what we're saying to him. Fessy is only acting that way because he has such a big head, because everybody hypes him up. Everybody says all the time he's the biggest and strongest, and they act like they're scared of him. Nobody wants to throw him in. Everybody wants to have an alliance with him. So he does feel on top of the world because that's how the house is making it. So I do wish somebody would say, like, guess what? You're not really it either. But
one-on-one, I would be scared to go against him for sure. Like, I get why no one wants him in an elimination, because one-on-one, depending what it is, he's got an advantage just right off the bat. However, he doesn't win a lot. Leroy's smoked him this season, if we're going to talk about wins. He's not a good team player, which we know. But more than that, so that is where I would say overall of the show tonight, that was a lot of setup with no payoff. Him and CT versus Fessy. So I was like, where is this going? Because it didn't come.
I mean,
anything in the
storyline didn't like end dramatically, but they did keep that storyline going throughout the whole thing. Where even at the end, Big T picked CT, and Fessy was relieved and boasting that he gets to be in the Big Brother alliance still. So they kept it going. I mean, there's only so much they could do with it. The producers try to do what they can, but
you
in
don't
that
think
case,
there's more? You don't think there's a CT Fessy show off face off coming up?
maybe coming up. But I mean, if there was one of those, the producers are going to show it, so we will get to see that for sure.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, hopefully this, because for the payoff to have been Fessy going, yeah, no Big T for me, is like a pretty weak.
Well, maybe we'll see it in the final. Maybe we'll see something happen between them in the final. I don't know.
Yeah, like CT will smoke him in a run. Like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. We don't even know if Fessy's good at puzzles. He's like, tonight he was bragging that, I'm just as good at puzzles as CT. I'm like, we don't even know if you can do puzzles yet, man. Like, what are we?
Where I had Fessy's back in the beginning, and I have 180. Like, I have 180 now. I super do not like him, but in the beginning, I was saying he's a good big brother because he's big and strong, but he's also smart, like CT. He's not dumb. He's not dumb like Josh. I mean, he's not just like, I mean, he is.
Yeah,
I don't know how good at puzzles he is, but he's not he's competent.
Yeah.
I do think the experience level is obviously going to work in CT's favor, though. Even if Fessy is good at puzzles, he probably doesn't have the ingenuity that you need to navigate through a final the way that CT does. CT has been in several of them, you know.
Yeah, how could he though? How could Fessy?
Right, and that's not a fault to his own. However, it might not be the time to talk that talk.
His partner already hates him. Like, Nani already hates him, and it's like, you know what? Then go run. I'll like that's not gonna fly. Someone that's like, you suck. I'm the best. You're making me lose. Like, that's not a good partner.
Yeah. Him and Lolo should have been partners.
Totally. That's what I'm like. I wish those two on each other. I really do.
Well, let's get into the challenge of the evening. Mission Skydive. Skydive? No, Spydive. And I thought they did a really good job with this plane. They decaled the crap out of that thing. MTV getting their budget together. And they didn't have to decal that plane, but they put decals all over it. I was like really impressed. I thought that was really cool that they did that. Is that cheap to do that or something? Because I don't think it is.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what?
I think it's cool that you noticed that you're observing.
You didn't notice the whole plane was decaled with MTV The Challenge. They had a skull on the tail of it, like it was the Challenge Airlines. No one noticed.
Not
flew right over you, Jenna. All right. Well,
you're like no idea what you're talking about.
You know what happens to me during instructions? It's a mental problem that I have. I just
I feel like I took some crazy pills. Please tell me in the comments below if you noticed that the plane was decked out in challenge decals. Anyways, okay. I
believe you though.
What did y'all think of the mission? They had a skydive, and then they had to run a mile, but while they're skydiving, they had to look at a puzzle, and then
half a mile,
guys, and then solve a puzzle.
I feel like there's so much to be said about this. First off, I love the jumping out of the plane, and we can go through everybody's reactions because I also want to rate who had the best reaction jumping out of the plane or who you like to watch jump out the most. Because there were so many people that had to face their fears today. So that part was awesome. The second thing was like, okay, a half mile, the amount of people that struggled during a half mile run when this is a TV show about being athletic and about being in shape. It was a half mile. Like
I mean,
I get endurance to a point. I get miles on miles, but
right, like 3 miles through desert sand, like running, like where each step is a mile. But that's what like I am not. That's where I was like, okay, a half mile. So like I walk 6 miles. So that, you know what I mean? Like I do in my. So I'm like a half mile. That's probably. I'm like I think that I would never put myself on a physical TV. Like again, like it's not easy until you're doing it.
right.
I think that I could jog a half mile. Like, and I don't want to, I don't want to go compete against anybody. I'm not, but I'm like, okay, I was trying to put it into perspective because I was like, I'm not athletic or particularly fit.
But you
But
would be able to go into a TV show having trained enough that you could manage a half mile.
now my only defense is what did they have on them? What were they carrying? They did just jump out of a plane. Like, were they, is that like me putting on sneakers and being like, I'm going to warm up and do a half mile on a treadmill?
What-
Or is it a lot different?
This is what I'm most confused about. They showed Aneesa running on that treadmill the entire damn season. Every episode during a break, they would just quickly show Aneesa on that treadmill. What was she running on the treadmill? A quarter of a mile? Because she didn't make it, what Kyle said, 10 feet before she was like walking. That was scary to me. And not that it matters now because she's not going to be in the final. But how do you not? What was she jogging on that treadmill? She must have been jogging at least a mile. So why couldn't she jog a mile here or a half mile?
No, is what the footage of her jogging on a treadmill really.
But that's my point, though,
Yes.
Pam. Who jogs for like 2 minutes on a treadmill? They jog.
I do all different
20
like
minutes.
walk, run, jog. So you could show a 2-minute jog. I mean, like
Well, maybe they just so you think that she walked mostly on this treadmill. They just showed her for 2 seconds running to make us look like she was in shape. I don't get it.
very quite possibly, yes. I mean, like yes, quite possibly they showed the getting in shape montage.
I was also surprised by Big T. She seems very thin and she looks like she has very strong legs. Like she has a nice butt on her too. Like very strong lower body. Well, Jenna, no, she does. She has a nice strong lower
No,
body.
I was surprised too. She's tiny, and when we see her, she looks tiny.
I think
But
that
when
she'd be
they
able to
showed
run a half
CT
mile no
training
problem.
her, well, but when they showed CT training her in the mock hall brawl when he was putting, she was thicker than I had thought. I thought she was twiggy.
I didn't think
a
she
little
was
more on
bad.
her than.
I didn't think it was a bad thing though, Pam. I
No,
thought
it's a
that she had
compliment.
nice muscles.
It's not good, or I mean, it's whatever it is. She's got a little more to her physically
Yeah.
than I had suspected. I thought she was twiggy because she's tiny up top.
Sure, I got you.
She's
Yeah.
a little more
You
substantial. I don't know a word that's not. She's a little stronger looking on the bottom than she looks on the top, which was good. I was like, okay, so she might have more powerful lower body than we give her credit for.
But you could be the skinniest person in the world and still not be able to
Absolutely,
run.
but I thought she was a twig all around that would just be knocked about. And now I'm saying, okay, she's got some muscle down there. Like she is a swimmer, she is a runner. Again, for as much as she
a runner, Pam. She's no runner after what we saw tonight.
So I have some intel because I also thought similar to you, Pam, there had to be something that we weren't getting. They either had to be the weights, something that they were wearing, weighed them down, or just jumping out of an airplane, mess with their lungs, or there was elevation, there was bad weather. There had to be something that would make running a half mile that much harder of something to do. But I was talking to my friends who were here, and 2 of them had skydived in the past, and they said their lungs felt completely normal and fine after. Like they really don't feel anything different.
right.
So that takes that away. So I don't know if elevation or weather or something else was a factor, but jumping out of a plane really shouldn't do it. So if anybody watching can write in the comments, what their experience was like jumping out of a plane, if they feel like that affected their lungs. But based off of the people I spoke to, it really shouldn't have done anything.
Well, I'm an Aneesa defender. This was a little spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down tonight for me, because it was like, this is what we're saying when we call you dead weight. I mean, for me, it sort of was like, okay, if this was a teeny mini final, this is where we're seeing there's puzzle, there's a daredevil scheme, but there's running. And if you can't do it, we're going to lose. So I did sort of have my, okay, all right, I understand why she's getting this crap
Yeah.
moment.
So
Yeah,
you ladies didn't mind, because I didn't mind. You ladies didn't mind that CT kind of gave her a little.
No, I'm talking about Aneesa. Sorry, I was talking about.
Oh,
Aneesa
I'm jumping
with
back to
this
CT
one.
Big T. Sorry.
With CT, I thought it was. I forgive him. I do think. I really do think what I wrote. A CT. It is obviously we love him because we watched him for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It is nice seeing CT grow. I do think he feels bad for what he did to Big T already in this, and I think listen, you're emotional. Your chance at getting $1 million is potentially. I think he should have apologized, and he did, and I forgive him, and we can move on. Like, I don't think it was nice, but I understand in the moment.
I think he was just trying to prove a point. He's like, look at how quickly I can solve these puzzles. All you have to do is just try to keep up with me a little bit more than you just did, and we will win this whole damn thing. He literally solved that puzzle in 2 seconds. You saw Cam and Corey, they took a little bit longer, and Leroy and Casey took a little bit longer. CT, they showed the whole damn thing. It was boom, 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 9 in a row, done. And even TJ was like, dude, you don't need to solve. He's like, I know, but just let me show her how much I knew how to do this shit. He was pissed. I don't blame him.
I don't either. But again, it's not helping anyone to just dress someone down. You know what I mean? And she did just jump out of a freaking plane.
They all just jumped out of a plane and they were all just scared, Pam. I don't get that an excuse. They all had to do it. Anyways, sorry, Jenna, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to agree that I don't think CT was wrong there at all. And I think, he needed to give tough love that was due there, because Big T did need to have that realization that she needed to get her crap together. However, I do think the manner in which he said it was a little bit like condescending and patronizing. It was kind of like a dad scolding a child, but he did have to break through to her. So I don't really know which way he could have done it, but yeah, I think she definitely needed to have that come to moment. However, she didn't really care because she jumped out of a plane and she surpassed her biggest fear. So I have to give her credit with that. But not being able to run a half mile is really just a joke on this show. Like, there had to have been something more. There had to have been another reason why they couldn't get this half mile down, because Leroy even said that it was difficult for him, which is interesting.
Who?
The equipment. Sorry.
Leroy even said that running that half mile was difficult for him.
Oh, he did.
I'm sure people will tell us in the comment section whether it be elevation or maybe the equipment was heavy, but I don't see it being heavy. It's just light, like ropes that they have around them. It's not anything
cumbersome. Like, it's just awkward and you can't move.
They looked like it looked a little bulky on them, but you're still running.
And who was Fessy yelling at? He's like, "Don't you wish you did cardio now?" Like, who was that?
Because his partner
runs every day. Remember?
Wasn't even that far behind him. I think just in Fessy's world, he expected her to be able to have 8-foot long strides, like the length of his own legs. She's a lot smaller of a person. She doesn't run like a giant like you, Fessy. You have strides that take up an entire 5 yards at a time.
Yeah, it blows my mind. Even when Casey and Leroy, when they made the half mile, Casey, you could see her when she gets to the puzzle, she's out of breath. Like, she's like, now maybe they've sprinted, maybe they didn't jog it, maybe they were sprinting, and that's a little different, but it's still a half mile. I don't know. I wouldn't say
if I had to run, again, I'm like, I could possibly jog a half mile. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you're sprinting a half mile, you're gonna be.
And they did win. So let's remember, they did win. So maybe they did sprint it, ladies. Maybe let's give them a little credit there. And maybe Leroy and Casey sprinted the whole damn thing. And that's good for them.
Because we know 14 seconds separated them from Corey and Cam.
Correct.
And of course we can't really tell, but who ran a steady pace. Like, we saw them running a steady pace together. So I bet Corey or Casey and Leroy did run fast.
Yeah, because if it's a half mile, it's short enough where you're not going to take time and pace, and slow or steady wins the race. Just keep going, keep pacing yourself out. It's small enough that you can do a significant run.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to last an all-out sprint, but you can at least kind of maybe go in intervals. But if you're somebody like Leroy and Casey, you're in good enough shape that you can get almost to level 10 of where you are on a sprint or a spectrum of jog to sprint. So for them, I could totally see them being completely gassed out.
Leroy, did he always have that? It came when he was in his 80s costume, which we'll touch on. He is a lean, mean fighting machine. Like he's not giant, but he's all muscle, all like, has he always been like that? Or do you think he's gotten
I think he's pretty much always been like that. Yeah,
like
exactly.
lean and muscle and like a,
Can we talk about jumping out of the airplane? So, who were your guys' favorite reactions or
Fessy.
moments to watch?
Ah!
Ooh, yes.
The biggest scaredy cat. Cam, just is she ever not cool?
She
She's
just
like,
killed it.
woo! And Big T, I was with her. I was like, I don't think I could do it. Like there's competitors and there's not competitors. Like I don't, it's like there's people that like, I'll destroy myself for the win, like maniacs. And then there's me that's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna see on the ground. Like I'm not, I get $1 million and I'm not there. But I was surprised she did it because I was like, that like terror in her tears. It's like I can't do, like I'm not doing that. She did it and I was so proud of her. So that's where I'm with Big T. It's like, but I jumped out of a plane. Who cares if I didn't run? It's like your different perspectives on like what your expectations are. And if it's to be a champion of the challenge, then yes, you need to be able to run a half a mile well. I was like, Big T, you are a star. You did it. Like that's, to me, she conquered her fears. That's a big deal.
The entire journey of her having to get off of that plane and Aneesa and Kyle not realizing that they were putting her in the seat directly next to the wide open door. And the fact that Big T could not constrain herself to look out that window the entire time. Like she couldn't help it. She was locked on the earth below her instead of trying to look at somebody else. She could not help but just stare at the earth, which is like her biggest fear to do. And her one little tear rolling across her face. I'm so proud of her for doing it. I also honorable mention think that Leroy's path to getting off of that plane was really funny as well, because I felt the anxiety in the moment of watching him because he's staring up at the sky. He does not want to look down. Slow motion falling out of the helicopter, his legs hanging off of the helicopter. So his was really funny to watch go down too, because you know that he was terrified.
I loved that Corey shouted out his kids. He didn't even seem scared. He was just shouting out his kids, having a blast with it. And I liked Kyle as well, because Kyle at one point was like, why do we keep spinning? Why can't he, how am I supposed to look at the chart down there? I keep spinning. And I think Kyle's always funny with good comments when he's doing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he was scared too, but he also knew that he could be the comic relief of this by just saying ridiculous things. So I always appreciate that.
Do you guys think you could have done this?
You have to. It's a great, what an opportunity to do. I've never done it before. I would do it though. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it voluntarily. I don't want to do it. It's something that really does scare me.
I'm not going to pay to do it. That's for sure, Pam, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to, but I think Big T was the great voice of the inspiration, I think, of this whole season. But she was saying, I actually found myself enjoying it, looking at the earth. It was beautiful. You know, it's like, of course, it's scary, but once you literally take that plunge, it's probably pretty fun. You know, like anything, I haven't jumped out of a plane, but, you know, I've jumped off cliffs before where you're like, ooh, I don't know if I can do it. Once you do it, it's like, I'm so glad I did that. Yeah, I want to do it a million times. But that first step is really scary.
I'm sure. But I mean, you got the guy behind your ass just pushing you out of there anyway. So you just kind of just flop around and let him just move your ass out there. And
yeah, but remember when Jordan?
Yeah, he got hurt.
Like landed bad, and on Bachelor recently, one of the contestants like landed on her face. Like the people did it. They like literally landed her on her face. Like it's.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm signing us up right now for next Saturday, 3 p.m. I hope you're available.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like, send me all of your licenses.
Totally.
Well, the closest thing I ever did to skydiving was I used to work at Six Flags New England up in Massachusetts, and it's that Taz's Daredevil drop that does this thing.
Nope, I did the sky at Universal. Have you done that? You're in air, so it's amazing.
Where you're flying like this.
It's like skydiving without danger. You're in a contained thing where you are being held up by air, and it's amazing.
I've seen it.
So fun because you're not scared for your life, but you feel that fun
flying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that I'm like that all day, every day. Like I like it, but I don't want to like actually jump out of a plane.
Yeah, no, I got you. But I mean, like, ladies, like the only reason I did that drop was because I was an employee there, and they had like employee ride night, so we all got to do it for free because it's like it's an added price if you buy admission to a Six Flags. I'm like, I'm never gonna pay that, but it was free, so I did it. Faced my fears. It was scary as hell.
So scary, yeah.
Scary.
Even roller coasters, which I love, I take the Leroy. Like I can't look. I love
Oh,
the
roller
thing,
coaster stuff.
but I am not gonna tick 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 watch myself go up on some little rail. Like I can close my eyes and then I like it, but I am not. I'm not trying to look at what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right.
What about Jenna? What about you? Do you like
yeah, Jenna.
I don't know, guys.
Bungees.
In my past, I used to say that was always on my bucket list, that I always really wanted to skydive. But now, even just getting on a plane scares me. Like when the turbulence hits really bad on a plane, I don't know what's happening to me. I am just morphing into an elderly person more and more every day, where now when I actually really put myself in their perspective, in their position, jumping off the helicopter, I was like, I honestly don't know if I could do it. Like my stomach was everything was just, I could feel it. I could feel the roller coaster.
I was with Big T, with like the terror, like the sheer terror of that. And I was like, I don't know if I would have done it. I don't know.
I really would love to say that I did. I'd be like, of course you have to. It's part of the competition. You can't quit.
Yeah,
I
feel like
jump out of the plane.
I feel like it would change, Jen. If you're on that show, I mean, some people have chickened out. Remember, there was a couple people in past seasons that said they weren't going to jump out of the airplane, and they got disqualified. They just like they got asked to leave the show. Possibly, I forget what happened. But remember, it was the beginning of the season, and you had to jump out of the plane, or you weren't allowed to be on the rest of the season. And someone didn't do it.
I want to say it was Nate from Are You the One?
I feel like it was two people that didn't do it, but I don't remember who it was. Yeah. Please tell us in the comments below who didn't jump out of the airplane and got taken off the show. It was Nate. All right. Jenna already knows it was Nate.
Okay.
Yes, another interesting thing about the challenge that I picked up on. So Kyle and Aneesa, having won the previous challenge, made the orders. So they pick themselves to go second against Leroy and Casey, which is interesting because why would they pick themselves to go against probably the best team to win the final, right?
I don't think it was an against. I think so. There were there were going to be two plane rides.
But Pam, they had to beat whatever team they went against just to make it for that final score. So yeah, they should have picked.
What do you mean went against? See, this is where I directions to like rules. I thought it was just like
they should have picked Aneesa. They should have obviously Aneesa's the one that picked it, right? Yeah. Aneesa should have picked maybe Big T in theory, but that's in hindsight.
Wait, I'm so confused, but I'm not gonna like. What do you mean against one other?
Aneesa and Kyle got to pick who went against who in this one, so they got to pick who they went against in that round, and they knew they had to beat that person
jumping out of a plane
in that round.
The run to do the puzzle,
right? But okay. But what?
It's fine.
Wasn't it all just the final time of the bet?
No, if you didn't, that's why CT, when it didn't matter if CT finished, TJ said someone already beat you. Doesn't matter. So why wouldn't, what Jenna's saying is, why wouldn't Aneesa choose someone like Big T that might be less athletic than a Leroy and Casey, who she knows are going to kick her ass?
She picked, okay, I don't know. I don't want to wait.
Forget it.
Hey, guess what, ladies? It's time to get to the 80s party.
Woo!
Party. They should have been doing themed parties the whole damn season, as far as I'm concerned. It was fun. I love the montage they put together. I know we want to talk about that, Jenna. They showed everyone in their outfit. They showed them doing fun dances. Like, this is what the show's about. It's about that fun party scene. They should have had a couple hookups, but they can't control that. But other than that, it was a really fun scene. I thought Cam looked so cute in her outfit. She was like just having fun. I thought Nani looked really cute in her outfit.
Okay, wait.
But go on, tell me who you liked.
Each have to say our favorite outfit. You can only say one person because we're all going to say all of them. So you can only pick one person. Your top costume.
Okay.
Your best dressed.
Who? You start.
Okay, my favorite was Amber B's because I felt like she was so on point with Madonna look. She had the big hair, she had the crop top, everything was just like perfect. Loved it. 10 out of 10.
Unfortunately, Jenna stole my answer. The answer is that's the truth. The first time she had those jeans on and she did a spin in those jeans, and she was the first one they showed. And I said, oh my God, No one's topping her. She is so damn sexy. That's my choice. That was it.
I also thought she nailed it in a non-traditional. I wouldn't think of you don't think 80, you think the tight pants, the whatever, you don't think the acid wash. She costume, like if she was in, she nailed it.
You're okay, but thank God there's someone.
Well, I can't say that. No, she was, if you guys didn't say it, she would have been my choice, but Corey did a great job.
He had the hair going.
Yeah. Can we say worst?
It was amazing. Okay, worst costume.
1, 2,
Well,
3. Fessy.
you're all gonna say Fessy, right? You're gonna say Fessy.
Yeah.
That's why I wore the tutu tonight. You know.
Okay.
What outside of the tutu though? His wasn't bad. He at least
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only reason we're saying this is because everyone was dissing on his costume. I thought everyone had a great costume. It was.
Wait, I don't remember Cam. What was Cam wearing?
I think she had a little tutu thing, didn't she? Or she had like a
Oh yeah, she had a leotard and a tutu. Yeah, I don't know how the
dress.
tutus. Obviously, production dumped a box of 80s
Of course,
on the floor and said dress 80s.
Wait,
but,
Pam, they didn't bring all this stuff with them to.
Well, how 80s are tutus? I mean, I like why were those even involved? But
Neon. They just went for neon clothes, Pam. That's all.
Runner up or honorable mention, Aneesa with her flash dance did a nice job.
yeah.
Dancing away. She was dancing
That
away.
was pretty good, but almost not that memorable. I couldn't even remember what she wore till you said it. I was thinking about it. She was almost going to be my worst because I just could not remember what she wore.
And she was dancing or something. It was like
Nani was great because she just looked like a natural. Like other than that, her shirt was yellow and a little shorter. She just was like cute and normal looking with her.
Well, but still, yeah. I'm not usually attracted to Nani, but I was really attracted to her in that outfit. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
No, Nani's cute.
Dan is just going through his favorite attributes.
Right.
I'm a man, ladies. I enjoy what a female looks like when they're all dressed up too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Anyways, so they had the 80s party, and this is when Fessy is super arrogant towards CT. We kind of already talked about this. Did you ladies notice at one point Aneesa, right before the 80s party, Aneesa blames Kyle for the reason that she walked? I feel like it got skipped over real quick. And I was like, so Aneesa says that the reason she walked is because Kyle had stopped to wait for her. So she's like, well, I'll just walk. He's like, I was waiting for you to catch up to me. We had to be there together. Why did you? Well, I walked because you waited for me. No, Aneesa.
Aneesa was throwing it all out with the chicken soup at that point. Because then she was like, and Fessy, like, it's not going to make you not be the vote. Like, even, because at that point it was official, right? That Big T, and I think we sort of knew, like, the chips were laid out.
They had right. We kind of knew who was going to be put in because of the numbers of what Big Brother had. Yeah,
she was trying, but she didn't seem to have a really clear plan. Because even if it was Kyle's fault, if it was, what does that mean?
I think at that point she was just throwing out a really bad excuse, which is surprising because Aneesa always owns herself and is always very honest, even if she's weaker. Even if she does something wrong, she's always admits it for what it is. So it's interesting that she threw that out. I caught that too, and I was like, girl, you're gonna walk no matter what. Come on.
And then trying to get,
if anything, him stopping should have made you feel like you could a little bit more because you have like a stopping point, or you have a sight in mind. Like if you're ever on a jog or running out on the street and you see something, you're like, I just want to run to that light post. At least you could catch up to him. It gives you more of an incentive to work harder.
A mental island, like where it's like one more.
I really hope in the aftermath show someone like calls her out on that or just asks like, what did you mean by that? Because it literally makes no sense. But then again, now we're just digging in on her, and that's not nice either, I guess.
Well, hopefully she'll say, I don't know, I was grasping at straw. You know what I mean? Like the right answer would be trying anything to not go in. Like,
yeah, that would make, if she said I was grasping at straws, we can at least be like, thank you.
Right. Yep. Get it. We're all right. Not ready to.
Deliberation happens, and I think everything kind of was laid out the way that we thought it was going to be laid out. Kyle really wants to put Aneesa down there. I mean, Kyle doesn't want to be with her. I mean, I don't know. CT, I don't think would mind if Big T lost and he get a different partner as well. I don't think CT was bothered if he didn't get Big T again. So they both went in.
Did we talk about the fight between CT and Fessy enough? I know we talked
No,
about
we
it.
need to talk about that a
I
little
think
more.
there was more to that we didn't really get into.
Well, I
'Cause we-
guess it's
CT lost layers of his costume with each, like it was like a strip fight for CT with the costume. Like by the end of the argument, he's just CT.
Well, let me ask you this then about that fight, ladies. Fessy says the argument started with Fessy giving him a compliment. Is that true? Fessy
No,
they
Fessy's
gave him a compliment. I never saw this compliment.
It was a
No.
backhanded compliment.
It was
I think
a backhanded compliment because it was not a compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
even a
it was an
backhanded compliment.
insult. It's an insult that Fessy is now trying to disguise as a compliment.
He's like,
Uh,
you were good, man, but the competition sucked. That was like his compliment, right? Like it was something like that. I was like, wait, that's not right.
It was watch out, boy, there's a new sheriff in town. That's not a compliment. Like that, I don't care how Fessy tries to wrap it up after the fact. It was, haha, you were good, but there's new people in town now. And it's like, I liked when CT was like, every season for the past 3 decades, there's been some kids that think they're going to show me up. It's like, you know what? CT's the OG, the best for a reason. I'm sorry. Is,
Also, who are the new people? What does he mean there's new people in town? New person? Just you, Fessy? It's your second season. Who are the new people? Josh has been around, and Josh, I don't think CT
Josh is not.
threatened for 1 second about Josh. Who else is there? Corey has been around. Leroy has been around as long as a little bit less than CT.
Maybe he needs like
himself.
a turbo who came in and won on his first season, but now he hasn't been back. I'm trying to think too. I don't know.
Also, he means him, you guys. He means me, Fessy.
I know he needs him, but he's trying to make it like he's trying to be humble about it. Like,
but he didn't. See, they were in a season together, weren't they? Like, didn't CT already beat Fessy in a few? Fessy's delusional, as we know.
CT was also trying to say, hey, man, I won like 2 times in the past 5 years. Like, that's a big accomplishment. So Fessy's just being the villain, ladies. I told you this at the beginning. He just wants to be the villain now, and he's
not
really
that clever
going at it.
He's not Kevin. He's not bananas. He's not that clever. He's just an asshole.
Unfortunately, this doesn't work for CT, but the one season that CT and Fessy were in together, CT lost to Jay in the elimination where you had to the fortress around the house. You had to break
like not the rope knot. Yes.
So I think Fessy is seeing that and thinking to himself, Fessy's saying from my perspective, CT doesn't really scare me. It's not really a threat, but I think in some ways he obviously does because he is getting under Fessy's skin. That's the reason why Fessy feels like he needs to puff out his chest more, that he needs to assert his dominance, you know? It really just felt like somebody said, I think, ego trip between the two of them, like asserting their masculinity, seriously. But I also find it ironic. I think you guys will agree, and I think a lot of people who watch our show and comment will agree that when Fessy says, but the people that you were competing against back in the day were not as good as they are now, I think it's the complete opposite. I think the competition was stiffer back in CT's prime. I think that the competitors were probably harder than they are now.
They were great ones. I mean, think about it. No, but Pamela, I mean, think about it. We had Derek K. Remember Landon?
But the competitions are harder now. I think just the overall level of competition is a little more intense now.
I mean,
yeah, that's. I don't think that's what Fessy.
They have to heighten it, right? They have to heighten the stuff. It's a TV show. You remember the games they used to play? They're a lot different than they are now.
I think that the
competition. It's like saying that Landon and Derek K couldn't compete now. That's a lie. They could.
Right.
You know,
no, Fessy's. I'm just so mad that he succeeded in getting under CT's skin. That's my only. It's like CT was like, okay, right, but then it did work. He just kept needling, and again, Fessy, someone whispering in his ear. Did he have like an earpiece? Because he's not. I don't know how he knew all the right things to say, but he was doing it, and he got under his skin, and I'm pissed that he was able to do that because he's not worthy of getting under CT's skin.
I mean,
yeah, like you want CT to have the goat-like energy for the goat that he is.
He usually does. I think that's why it's like, you're coming at me. I'm not prepared for this. He did, he's got big T. He's in a soft spot. So I think it was a rough time, and I just wish CT had been like, all right, kid, whatever.
Well, Fessy finally pushed that button that really laid into CT's ego, I think, because he obviously is getting older. He's probably not going to be in a lot more of these challenges. He is kind of losing that touch a little bit, although he still is CT, and Fessy really kind of laid into that, so that he could only push CT so much. He is eventually going to break. He's still CT at the end of the day.
Don't make me take off my headband, right?
he definitely proved to Fessy, like, you really don't want to fuck with me at the end of the day, because I could see CT's anger like shaking through the TV. Like you could see his body shaking, and I was like, "Ooh, CT's like he is so angry right now." If you,
But back in the day, he would have thrown some punches and gotten kicked off. But look, he's growing. Congratulations.
He's growing.
You might make it to a final now. And honestly, if it's CT and Fessy in a final and it's only them two, I'm going CT every goddamn day.
Me too.
There's no
CT
way.
all the
There's no
time.
way I think Fessy will beat him.
All day, every day, CT.
guys, what if we get proven wrong? What if they do a hall ball, and what if Fessy wins?
That's fine. And then I can eat my words. But right now, CT's on top of the mountain. He's been there for 20 damn years. So once he gets dethroned, then I can give Fessy some credit. But there's no way in hell if you had to put your money on one, I guess that's what it comes down to. You put the money on CT every time until you lose the money.
And even if we're just talking about this season's performance, CT has dominated Fessy. Like Fessy hasn't done anything standout this season at all. So that's why I don't understand.
Wait, well, him and Aneesa won the first two challenges, as I recall, and he also beat Nelson in a hall brawl. So he's done those three.
Right. He beat Nelson in a hall brawl. That's his big like.
Well, there's none of this though. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Right. Well, he's a million times bigger than him, and he barely beat him. Like it was a close.
We did agree that Nelson put up an excellent.
Yeah,
fight. We did agree on that.
And he's wasn't he a Division I football player, Fessy?
We had also discussed that.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. No, if you didn't, I'd be embarrassed for you. It's not like, good job, mate.
We also discussed if you go on my Instagram, you can find a picture of of Nelson when he came to visit us in studio at AfterBuzz TV, and he's literally like so much shorter than me, and I'm only 6 feet tall, and he's like. Okay. He's like your height.
5'8". Yeah, no. Well, that's a great height to be. No, but also
I didn't say it
wasn't. Fought dirty. He like stood on his head. I mean, like that.
Gouging on his eyeballs.
That elimination was the one that turned me on Fessy. It's like you're gonna A, call out someone and B, fight so dirty and something you should be able to smooth sail through.
Well, either way, what's happened has happened, and Corey still hasn't got his redemption on Fessy.
Final thought on Deliberation, real quick. My heart really went out to Aneesa when everyone, she had her moment, and everyone's sort of dogging her, and she gets upset and she defends herself. And then there's a point where she's like, the quote is, do people expect me not to feel anything? It's like, that's where I was like, yeah, I mean, like, God. She is a real human sitting there taking the insults in stride. I think she takes it a lot.
She was taking a lot, but I think she also needs to look at herself in the mirror and say, well, they prefer to run a final with a Nany or KC. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I would want that as well.
I think she did, but I think her point to like, I'm not going to not feel anything is valid.
Totally. But Pam, like, if she really wanted to she could have. She's had so many episodes these last couple weeks to prove that she has some endurance in her. All she had to do tonight was run a half mile. Imagine if she just ran that freaking half mile and said, "Hey guys, look, it's only a half mile, but look, I just crushed it." She couldn't even do that. I don't have any issue with Kyle and CT saying, "Look, I'm sorry."
No, I agree with you. I said this is where I was like, well, this is why they don't want to. I've been Aneesa defender the whole time.
We're saying the same thing, but you're just saying that you feel bad that she has to get.
I do feel bad. She's a person with feelings, and it's like I've been doing this for a long time, and I just think it's disrespectful the way everyone's treating her. It's one thing to not want to. It's another thing to be like, no, Aneesa, like.
And yeah, and to your point, Pam, exactly. I'm glad that she said what she did, because people can at least stop mocking her in a way. Like you can't let people talk to you a certain way. If it's and to your point, she's been taking it so gracefully. She's been able to roll it off her shoulder, kind of take it as a joke and see the truth behind it. But if it's still affecting her, then it's good that she was able to say, like, just stop doing it.
It's enough. I'm going in tonight. Enough. I'm going, like, you don't need to add insult to injury at every turn.
And I also love that she threw it back too. And she told him, I've been doing this longer than any of you. I've paved the way for so many of you and so many females in this game. And it brought me back to the memories of watching her in her younger years and being like, hell yeah, Aneesa, you really did. So I love that she said that too. And it was just kind of like, maybe I'm not the same as I was, but I still paved the way.
Shut up and have some respect. Yeah.
I guess the only reason I get so upset about the whole thing is I want her to win. I want to root for her. I want her to prove everyone wrong. And I feel like she's just not doing what it takes to prove people wrong. I can't push her. I'm not around her. I was like, Aneesa, I can't be on this show.
Be
You
able
get
to run a
be on
half
this
a
show.
mile. Be able to jog a half a mile. I agree.
Want to help you be able to jog that half mile. I get it. I'll train you. I don't care. Like, but
You're
I
a
can't.
life coach.
Well, that's my other question to you guys who exercise regularly and stuff. So CT was like, so come on, Big T, if we go, we're going to have to train. Like, how long does it take to get endurance? Like,
they're not going to be ready for the final in 4 days. I caught that too. So the thing is starting now, episode 14. This is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And how long would it take to build up the endurance to run a half a mile?
Run a half mile? Oh, a week or two?
Run for a month. Run for a month. Yeah, run for a month. You can run a half mile. No problem.
So Big T just needs
long. The crazy thing about a half mile is, like, if you look, they could probably see, if they had a big sign, they could have probably seen where the puzzle even was. It's not that far. A mile. Okay, it's running 2 times around a track, correct? Yeah.
A half mile or a mile?
Half mile is 2 times around a track. A full mile is 4 times around a track. It's not long.
When's the last time you've been to a track? Like, how big is it?
In high school, when you had to run
in high school, I haven't seen a track in I don't know how long.
Pamela, in high school, when you had to run do you ever had to run the mile run in high school? They made you run 4 times around a track. That's all it is.
Well, think about it this way. If you're in good shape, you can probably run an 8-minute mile, meaning that a half mile should be
4 or 5 minutes. Okay.
Right. So
like
5 minutes of running. You can
that's the crazy thing, Jenna, is an average mile is like 8.5 minutes, and that's if you're like just jogging. So you can do a half mile in 5 minutes. That's all I do.
That's what's funny, because I'm like, okay, I can run for a half. Well, again, I'll say jog. Like when I'm running,
that's fine. That's great.
But that's like, I'll do it for 5 to 10 minutes. So,
but if you're sprinting, that is hell. Right. 5 minutes.
No, I wouldn't do that. This is like, I'll do in any event. Like I spend now a long time doing like different things. So literally just out of boredom, I'm like, time to run. Like go back to
that's why
half mile, it wouldn't have been 5 minutes, it would have been less.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I mean. I could understand if they were dying and if they felt like it was the hardest run ever, because if they're sprinting a half mile, if you're sprinting for
that's where
minutes, that's horrendous.
They were out of breath. Yeah, if you're shooting
that's
a long
thing to go through. Yeah, but the fact that like Big T and Aneesa couldn't even keep up a jog for 5 minutes is really concerning, unless they were in an all-out sprint for a minute or two and that took so much out of them that they couldn't help but walk. Then that's where their partners, or that's when they as themselves really need to figure out like the best pace for them to just be able to get through that half mile. But not be able to run a half mile, not a good look.
No. Ladies, want to get to the crater?
Yeah.
All right, we got Fire Escape Part 3, Part Trey here. The producers are definitely, I thought personally, trying to give Big T a chance to get to that next level. They didn't do any headbangers against Aneesa, because that would have definitely gone Aneesa's way, I think. Even endurance-wise, I think Aneesa would have just destroyed her, especially since they both can't run. It's not like we think Big T might be able to run a little bit. No, she seems to get gassed out pretty quick. So I think Aneesa would have destroyed her in a headbanger. Producers gave Big T a chance, in my opinion.
I think we could probably all agree that once we saw the playing field for tonight, we thought this is not going Aneesa's way.
Did you think Aneesa did better or worse than she did? I thought she could have done a lot better. I feel like she should have at least got to halfway, personally.
You didn't get past the first hump. How could you get any worse?
Okay, I guess. Okay. Do you think she should have done better? And I think we all agree that it's like, come on, how can you not get halfway?
So my feelings about this, those two going up against each other were that I would have been really, really happy with either one of them winning. And before it started, I thought could be in anyone's game. Because again, Aneesa surprises you sometimes. So I didn't know, but once it was one of those things where I think she was so defeated once it got going, and Big T, it was the opposite, was so feated. What's the opposite of defeated? Feated. She was so
eated, yeah.
She was so feated. Yeah, she was so feated. She was just boom, boom, boom. Like the humps that even the really good people struggled with, like Leroy, and she didn't struggle with, at least from what we saw. She just did it.
Viewers did not
And
struggle.
she was
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
So it was great.
No. No. Oh man. Why would it freeze now? Out of nowhere.
Oh, he did just freeze.
Oh,
No, yeah.
Dan, we can see you.
Dude, why would it randomly freeze after we were on for like 45 minutes? It makes no sense.
You didn't freeze us. We
So
saw
we're
you going,
good.
man, why are you freezing?
So lame. All right, am I back though?
You're back.
Good. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, I think Big T did awesome. She really was able to work her body weight in a way that Aneesa was not able to. She was able to get in rhythm, get in motion. She was able to figure it out athletically. And I think Big T sometimes can be a sleeper. For example, we saw that she can swim. We saw that she can compete in certain areas. Obviously, the run today is a big mark in the con category for her. But seeing her compete in the elimination, she did really well. Poor Aneesa, man. She was just hanging the entire time. This was not the elimination for her. She could not get her body weight up.
I felt so bad. She looked so awkward.
And she didn't even have gravity in her favor. There was nothing she could do. She's pulling herself down. She couldn't even like lift her shoulders up just for one hump. It was really, it's hard to watch.
Yes, that's the word. Awkward and hard to watch for me with her. Felt really bad, but yeah, thought Big T for I thought she did pretty good. I'm not sure how Big T would have done against any other girl in the house. I think that Big T was going steady, but a little on the slow side. I think a lot of other girls would have beaten her, but hey, you go against who you have to go against, and that's all that matters. She won. So
yeah, I was wondering that too, if Big T looked so good because of the matchup, but I don't know. I don't want to say that she only looked good because Aneesa was just hanging out in section 1 the whole time. I still think Big T moved in a really quick fashion, and
I think that any of the other girls would have beat any of the other girls in the final right now,
Any-
or still in the game. I think would have beaten her. But
you think Nani would have?
Nani would have been her closest next one, but I think Cam and Casey and Amber would have beaten her pretty good.
Yeah. Amber probably could have too, but Nani and Amber would have been the best best possibilities for Big T to go against, because Cam and Casey just wouldn't have been fair.
I feel like Amber is strong. Like we haven't seen a lot of Amber, but I feel like she's probably a good competitor.
And she played rugby. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. The only reason I said that she could be a possible competitor in this for Big T to have a good matchup against is just because we haven't seen her. So we saw her in the hall brawl against Amber M. So we obviously know that she was great in that.
Right.
She does look athletic, but we just don't know enough, really.
But everyone's like, we want Amber M in a next, and I'm like, why? I'm kind of scared of Amber M. I don't know why. I'd rather a Nani any day.
Wait, you mean Amber B?
Oh, B. Sorry, the one that's left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle saying, oh, sorry, I'm moving around, jumping subject. So Kyle's now with Amber B, and he is saying the girls all want to put her down, I guess, for allegiance, I understand.
Yeah.
But if I were in that group left to compete, I'd rather see Nani than Amber B in a competition.
But they're best friends with Nani. They want to make sure Nani the chance to win whatever second or third place is. They want to make sure that even if you have a chance of getting eliminated, you don't want to throw in somebody to take away the money if they're your friend, so that's why the best thing that can happen to go against that big alliance next episode is for Big T and CT to win. Well, I mean, actually Big T is friends with Nani and Cam. Big T's friends with everybody, so that's tough, but I feel like
but not in an alliance.
Pretty much anybody outside of Casey Leroy, Cam and Corey, and Nani and Fessy have to win so that they switch it up. That's why Kyle made a really good point where Big T probably should not have chosen CT as her partner again, because they need to disrupt the house a little bit. Because if it comes back to an elimination next week, that's the only thing we don't know. Is it going to be an elimination? Is it going to be a purge or double elimination? We don't know that yet. But if it's going to be a standard elimination and the same teams are in power, it's just going to be the same thing. It's just going to be Kyle and Amber B down there, and CT and
Kyle and B could win next week. That would also be right. Either one of those two. So now the big, it's only 5 teams, so it's really 3 to 2. We'll see. I mean, I don't know.
We know that there's going to be a daily challenge next week. And then what I think is going to happen, and I called it right this week. I said it was going to be Big T against someone, and I thought that Big T would get a chance to get her gold skull, so that worked out. I think that you ladies might be right. I think it's going to be a double elimination next week. I think they're going to send one guy, one girl home. They're going to team up those last two people, or maybe they do it again next week, and then we have 3 teams in the final, because right now there's 5 teams. They might knock it down to 3 teams in the final. So that would mean there's 2 more weeks.
Yeah, I think that's only fair, right? You can only have 3 teams in the final.
That would be cool. So I think that's what's going to happen. So I think 2 more teams are going to go home, or two more guys and 2 more girls. I'm not sure if they'll be those exact teams, but that's what I think.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I like it though. I like it. It's getting really exciting. Like it is getting a lot better. It was chugging along, and then it was sort of like whatever, and now I think it's really getting it's much more compelling these past couple of episodes than it's been.
Oh, I feel like it's been predictable.
Oh, really?
Well, this last week, I if you listen to our show from last week, Pam, I said all this was going to happen, and it did.
But the narrative, the ultimate what's going to happen might be predictable, but I think there's like emotional, compelling things happening. I don't know. It's more interesting to me.
I think the rest of the way through, it's going to be kind of hard to predict. Like Jenna, we don't know what's going to happen next week. Like I think it's very unpredictable for next week at least.
It's probably going to be the same teams that were in elimination tonight, unless somebody else can win. Like it's probably going to be.
It's going to be Amber B and Kyle versus CT and Big T double elimination, correct?
Yeah.
Well,
and if that's right, that's what I think too. So if that's right, then it is. Then it's very predictable.
Then who do you think is going to win next week? I mean, it's so hard to say. It depends on what.
I think I'll pick CT over Kyle any day of the week, and then
no, not in that elimination. I mean, first of all, again, I'm hoping
to win the whole thing.
More editors are setting it up. I think that next week it's going to be Fessy versus CT.
I hope so. That would be
really
great.
do. So
that's a great prediction.
The winner would be maybe a Leroy and a Casey, who's trying to get rid of his 2 biggest competitors for that. That's what I think. Maybe Casey and Leroy will win again. And also,
but then that would.
Do I not want to compete against the final, Fessy or CT? Let's knock one of them out.
But then that could make Nani vulnerable to elimination, and Nani is like a sister to Leroy. So that's where
there's only a few people left. I mean, who else? He
won't do it to Nani.
It comes down to then maybe Cam and Corey win, and they'll do it to Nani, and they pick Nani. Yeah. So that's fine. Maybe that's the winners. I'd like to see a Fessy CT matchup.
Me too.
So yeah.
So that was.
Otherwise, they really laid it on thick today for to see Fessy be like. I have to think that they are. I think building story at least at this point in the show. Like it's coming. Big T and CT had a relationship that's panning out. You know, all these things are sort of going somewhere. So if that doesn't. That's what I'm saying about it being more compelling. Like the story arcs are getting a little more compelling. So I'd like to see that comeuppance for Fessy, hopefully. Not the other way around. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. My knock wood. I was knocking wood.
Oh, God.
I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to see that backfire.
Ladies, any final thoughts on the crater tonight or anything about the episode?
Really proud of Big T.
I wish Aneesa could just get to the final.
I hope Big T can get her endurance together in 4 days, because I really do love those 2.
Time is.
Yeah,
yep.
I just think Aneesa in the final would have been a shit show. I'm sorry, ladies, but it would have been a shit show. She would have the whole thing down the whole time.
Yep, I'll take the L on that one.
All right. Do you girls want to do news and gossip, or you just want to go to our picks of the week?
I'll start with the worst news and gossip because it's like the loosest. I read this and was like, nah, get out. Okay. Cara Maria is in a movie. And apparently it's not her first. It's a Christmas movie. And I will, with Polly's brother, Cody Calafiore. Cara Maria Sorbello stars in this movie with Cody Calafiore. And I will watch it 100 times.
Is she the love interest? When did this get made?
I don't know. I need to get more.
Need the name.
Get your stuff together, and I'm going to actually look it up. This is my half-butted gossip. But so you give your real stuff, and I'm gonna.
I mean, I had 2 small things. Banana's show is gonna premiere.
Wait,
after SNL, finally, his show.
No, it's been. What are you talking about? I've been watching his first look. That's been on for years.
It's called Celebrity Sleepover. He's got another show called Celebrity Sleepover. It's going to premiere after SNL.
He's always had a show on after SNL, but it used to be called First Look,
Oh,
and it was unwatchable.
okay.
Like I tried for
I didn't watch it. This new one looks unwatchable as well, Pam. It's called Celebrity Sleepover.
Okay.
He's gonna have Tiffany Thiessen on, who used to be on Saved by the Bell. She played Kelly Kapowski. It looks absolutely awful. And you can watch like some trailer shots online.
Who's she dating at MTV? She has a new show that I keep seeing commercials for.
She's
like
doing
Casey, what
she's
MTV?
doing it's called Deliciousness, and it's a spin-off of Rob Dyrdek's, which was a spin-off of Tosh.0, which was a spin-off of The Soup with the what's his face?
Joe McHale.
Joe McHale, correct. So they all
That's
just
funny. He's gonna come up in our special segment.
okay. Oh,
but
good.
Wait, so but Banana, sorry, I was trying to look at, so Bananas has another show with that network that's a sleepover concept.
They're all in their pajamas and they're just doing stupid things. It's so dumb. Looks so dumb. Yeah.
Well, you got to put something on at 3 a.m. on network TV. You know what I mean? Like people aren't watching network TV.
I'm so excited. Oh my God, it's gonna be so cheesy. I'm so excited. I need to watch a trailer. Celebrity Sleepover. Good for him.
Discovering it right now is the best. That's the best part is Jen discovering it.
Oh my God. I don't understand sometimes. I you know what, I'm not gonna hate on it until I watch it, but sometimes don't you see things greenlit and you're like, how?
Well, this is gonna be Jenna, I'm sorry. This is it looks awful. And I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks so dumb.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It looks really dumb.
Good for him though. You know what? He's making
hey, look, I don't want to be a hater because I'll do that show any day of the week. You know what I mean? So I'm not hate. I mean, it just looks like a bad show.
Sure. No, I'm jealous. It'd be fun to be like, yo, people have a sleepover. It's 3 a.m. I don't care. Watch.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do the show. I just think I could make the concept better. I could do funnier sketches or something. I don't know, but his looks awful.
Do you
think Tiffany
Amber
Thiessen's boyfriend? Are you listening? Dan over here can do it better.
Wow.
Do you think we'll get invited to the Celebrity Sleepover one episode?
Nope.
I mean, maybe as like a threesome, all three of us could go together. I don't think we'll individually get in there.
Sounds like, yeah, you're definitely over there.
I didn't mean it in a naughty way. I meant the three of us would be invited as one group. I didn't think we'd individually get invited.
Because then it would be a foursome. I get it.
I will send a strongly worded email to Johnny Bananas that he needs to have challenge podcasters as a one-man celebrity sleepover team. Like, do we have competitions with Tiffany Amber Thiessen?
Well,
what happens
now? She's only Tiffany Thiessen now. She got rid of the Amber, apparently. Isn't that funny?
I think we just gave Celebrity Sleepover the best marketing.
Seriously, because I feel like I would know about it just by accident, and I did not know. So damn.
Now nobody knew about it, or if they did, they weren't watching. But now I think they're going to watch because then we can all laugh at it together.
Okay, so. Can I read you guys something?
Yes.
It says.
What if we were just like, no, you can't.
Type it to us. No. It says. Two-time Big Brother player Cody Calafiore is no stranger to acting when he isn't busy winning Big Brother All-Stars. The reality show contestant has a new show debuting later this year on PureFlix called Welcome to Hope, which also happens to co-star his brother's partner and former challenge star, Cara Maria Sorbello.
What's PureFlex? What channel?
I don't know, but I bet it gets more views than NBC at 3 a.m. So look out, Bananas. Cara's winning.
Cara lives.
Cara lives. Yes, Cara's beating you, Bananas. Cara's winning.
Honestly, that has been my dream and my newest career goal for like the past 4 years. It's like, I just want to be like a D-list actor and just make some good money and just be really horrible at acting, but still somehow get gigs. Like, how are people on these shows on like ABC Family and shit where it's just so corny and cringy, but you know what, they're doing their thing. Seems like a good work day.
Call Cody, you're in New Jersey, call the Calafiore household, bring them a pizza, tell them you've got something for them, you've got a proposition, your cousin Jenna comes to the Calafiore Cara Maria house with a pizza.
But Pam, their family is in the mob.
Right. I don't remember when Paulie had to break up with Cara because he had some business to take.
Right. Their family's in the mafia, so they're not going to accept me. I have to become, what do they call it again? Like a wise guy?
Well, Jenna, we went to Ferraro's, that burned down sometime. Remember we went to Ferraro's in New Jersey when we saw each other? Someone
That
burned
burnt down?
That was the rebuild. We went to the rebuild.
Oh.
Someone burned it down. It
Sorry, we're
burned
getting
down.
very
It
sidetracked.
only burnt down once. It's still the second iteration is
No.
still up.
So good.
Yeah. Ladies, do you want to do our picks of the week?
Yeah.
Yes.
We started a new segment last week, everyone, where we tell you guys what we recommend that you watch on TV or a movie or a documentary, etc. Pamela, would you like to go first?
I absolutely would.
Great.
So I watched a movie. It's a film, a feature film that you can rent. I watched it on Amazon. I'm sure it's on other streaming services, but you can rent it on Amazon. You do have to pay. It is called Psycho Gorman, like Psycho, like, and then Gore Man, like he's a gory man. It is a really funny. It's like a horror comedy, and it was supposed to go to South by Southwest. Something. It wound up coming out now. It was made a little while ago. It got COVID derailed. I will further recommend a podcast that I listened to called Werewolf Ambulance, and they talked about it, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that, like very casually, and it has become my favorite movie. Like, I can't believe how much I enjoyed it. So if you want just a gnarly and funny, delightful good time, watch this movie.
All right,
Nice.
Jenna, what do you got?
Okay, so mine is from the vault, and it used to be on VH1, and it's one of our beloved trashy reality TV shows. But I feel like I was very young when it first aired, and I just didn't really get around to watching all of it. But now I have friends visiting, and we were looking for just one of those reality TV shows to binge watch episode after episode. So you got to go watch Rock of Love with Bret Michaels because it's hilarious. If you haven't seen it yet, it is just like your very old school classic, everyone getting drunk every single night, drama just ensuing left and right. And you know what? Surprisingly, Bret Michaels actually is a really sweet man and is really vulnerable and adorable with all of these contestants, and really is actually trying to create bonds with them instead of just like sleep with them. There actually isn't really like a lot of sex going on. He actually tries to get to know them on a personal level, but at the same time, he also has like his really hilarious cringy moments, like about him being just such like a hornball, where he's always like, when I saw that, I was about to pop. Like, it's really, you
Like,
just get the two extremes of it being so old that I feel like they say things that you can't say now, but it's just hilarious. So I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it, but if you haven't and you just want like a
What are you watching
wormhole
it
of,
on? Where'd you
I'm watching it on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Yeah, he did, I think he did 2 seasons, didn't he?
Yeah, so
they're
it's just
great.
a rabbit
They're really
hole
fun.
of like good old-fashioned reality TV.
Yeah, that came out right after like The Flavor of Love and I Love New York came out. Then Bret Michaels got one, and they were all great. All of those are great. A lot of fun.
I would
Real quick-
recommend watching in a group of people because you need someone to just laugh with.
Oh yeah, it's great to have people around watching it for sure. With you. So I have two documentaries. They're both on Netflix. Operation Varsity Blues, about the college scandal. I don't know if you guys, I finally checked it out. Very interesting stuff. And the other one is called The Last Blockbuster, and it's about the last blockbuster video that exists still in Bend, Oregon, because there used to be over like 900 stores, across the U.S.
Sure.
And now there's one left, and they talk about how it all came to be and why Blockbuster is nothing anymore, and all
and
this.
it's good
Oh,
because
cool.
I saw that and I was like, why do I care? Like, who?
You'll care. It's a great documentary.
Okay.
Great documentary.
And Dan, on your recommendation last week, I did watch Varsity Blues this week.
Yeah.
And it was good.
It was,
was-
I recommended it last week, even though I hadn't seen it yet, and then I finally got to watch it this week, so I'm re-recommending it.
Yeah, it was good. I watched it. I enjoyed it. Yep.
Anything else?
I gotta get my steps in.
Me too.
I'm not gonna let.
Well, you're running out of time, Big T and CT.
I'm in California. I know exactly. That's why I'm like, can I run a marathon in?
Why don't you just go run a half mile and that'll get you.
I only have like 1,500 steps to do, so I'm pretty good.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 15. It was called Never Say Never Again. We will see you guys next week for episode 16. And I don't know, maybe this is going to go 20 episodes this season. We don't know, but we are going to be here for it. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.